The average person checks their phone 96 times a day. That's once every 10 minutes. If you're a CEO or entrepreneur, that number is probably even higher. But here's the real question. What is this constant connection costing you? Hi, I'm Julian Hayes II, founder of Executive Health, where we help CEOs, entrepreneurs, and others with significant responsibility optimize their health and performance with precision. And today, we're diving into something that's a little counterintuitive, but it's crucial, and that's solitude and digital detoxing. Now, as someone who practices meditation and has a visualization practice, which I think we all should have, I journal daily, and I do, of course, long distance running as well. I've experienced firsthand how intentional solitude can transform your mental clarity and your overall executive performance. And in today's hyperconnected world, the most successful leaders, they understand that stepping back is actually the key to moving forward. For example, Tim Cook, Apple CEO, prioritizes intentional solitude for clarity and performance by waking up every morning at 5 a.m. and blocking out that time and those activities to not be disrupted. And it's solely for him. And so if it's good enough for like a Fortune 500 Mag 7 CEO, then I think it should be good for us. It's something that we should pay attention to. So let's first start this journey by talking about solitude. And a lot of times people tend to lump together solitude and loneliness, but these are two different things. Whereas being intentional with your time designed for deep thinking and personal recalibration is the furthest thing from feeling loneliness. And so whether it's through meditation, whether it's through journaling, or even a long run or long bike ride, solitude is where high-level strategies are going to form. This is where your self-awareness is going to sharpen. This is also where clarity can emerge. And solitude is a game changer for a multitude of reasons. And the very first one is stress mitigation. When I'm on my long runs or I'm meditating, my brain is decompressing. I'm able to process emotions. I'm able to actually have time just for myself to look into my inner world. And this is a great recipe to avoid burnout, because in any sort of leadership role, any sort of startup role, burnout is a very prevalent thing because you're constantly on the go after. And the next thing when we think about solitude is improved decision making. So during my journaling sessions, with all distractions removed, and maybe you have some classical music on as well, my mind has this bandwidth to focus on long-term visions rather than just reacting to the daily fires. And when you're, I'm not in this position yet, but I talk to individuals who have tons and tons of employees, and sometimes these are spread across numerous time zones. And a lot of times they can become the chief problem solver, and they're just putting out daily fires. They're just putting out fires most of the time. And they're losing some of that time to think about the long-term vision of where they're actually taking the company down the road, not even just for the next quarter, but for the next year or two. And so this time carving out right here is very, very good thinking time. And speaking on that, the third point here of why solitude is such a benefit is mental clarity. So we have these moments of solitude. And as I said, it could be at a run, it could be at a meditation, it can just be you just laying down in silence. And you start to have these patterns emerge that our busy schedules, when you're going from meeting to meeting, or when you're going from call to call, these things are often going to obscure those things where you're not allowed to actually really get inside and check in on yourself. Now, we live in this world of, I would say, constant connectivity. There's a hidden cost to that. And this world that we have now, oftentimes they equate busyness with being productive. But constant connectivity is actually sabotaging your overall executive performance. I would also say that it's diluting some of your health as well. And here are a few stats that I found in preparation for this episode. Number one is attention residue. So we have studies that show that after being interrupted, it takes around 15 to 23 minutes to regain a full focus. You multiply that by dozens of daily notifications, pings, unnecessary phone calls, and your deep work is completely fractured. Second thing is mental overload. Now, you have an endless barrage of emails, messages, notifications again, phone calls. These keep your brain, you're constantly in a reactive mode. And just like being in a reactive mode when it comes to how we take care of our health is not an ideal thing. The same thing when it comes to our creativity and our performance. And once again, being in a reactive mode erodes you from thinking long term and stifling your creativity. So the next thing is we have emotional disconnection. And ironically, the overuse of technology can make you feel isolated. Now, and I know that may sound like counterintuitive, right? But I forgot the study, and I didn't look this up, and maybe I will in the future. A lot of times the people who have the most followers, quote unquote, whether it's on a Twitter or X or a LinkedIn or Facebook, and they're dependent on these people, these are some of the most isolated individuals that we know. And that's because real human connection suffers when the screens replace our face-to-face interactions. And this leads me to something that I would challenge everyone to do. And this is a digital detox. And I want you to think about the last time that you went a few hours or even a full day without checking your phone. Think about that for a minute. And you may be surprised to be like, when you completely unplug, your mind is entering a different state. Ideas are going to be able to flow more freely. Solutions to problems are naturally going to emerge. Your mental health from anxiety, from perhaps a minor depression standpoint, or any other mental ailment that is bothering you at the moment, could most likely benefit from unplugging. Whether we realize it or not, we're constantly taking in information. Even if we don't consciously think about it, subconsciously we're taking that in. So there's a lot of bad stuff in the world. And if you constantly inundate yourself with that, even if you don't think it's affecting you, most likely on a subconscious level, it's doing something. And so unplugging, you're able to come back with a sense of renewed clarity, a fresh outlook, a fresh lens on the world. So 3 benefits that I think comes from unplugging. Number 1, as I said again, mental health. I cannot state this enough, especially for entrepreneurs, especially for any sort of individual in a leadership role where it is a known fact that the rates of mental health, whether it's anxiety, depression, or other things, is higher compared to just the general population already. We are under enough stress already. So we really have to be cognizant of how we're taking care of our mental health. And so studies show that even taking a short break from social media can reduce anxiety and improve your overall mood. Improve relationships. Disconnecting from the screen allows you to reconnect with people. This is going to strengthen not only your professional relationships, but I would say even more importantly, strengthening your personal relationships, whether that's with your spouse, your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or even if you're going to look for one, and your kids as well. The third one is reclaim focus. So the best ideas often come from uninterrupted deep work, and a digital detox helps you access that state more often. And I have to mention his books, which was part of the inspiration a long time ago, is Cal Newport. All his books are fantastic. There's Deep Work, and I think it's called Digital Minimalism. I think that's the other one. 2 fantastic books. I go back to them because I can easily get caught back up into constantly thinking I need to be connected online and everything. And then over the time, I noticed that my mood and then the quality of my work starts to suffer as well, and some of my relationships. So it's a good book to go back to. And if you haven't checked them out, it's good books to check out. Now, some strategies that you can do to integrate this intentional solitude and digital detoxing into a high performance lifestyle. And the first solution is probably sounds like a no-brainer, but I would challenge you before you dismiss it, are you actually doing it? And that's to schedule time for daily solitude. You know, you're probably like me, where if it's not in the calendar, it's probably not going to get done, and it's probably not a priority. So my workouts, my runs are in my calendar. My meetings and calls are in my calendar. Time for solitude and thinking is in my calendar. And I would encourage you as well to think about doing this as well. So block out 30 to 60 minutes for uninterrupted thinking. And this could be time for meditation, time for journaling, a simple walk in nature without your phone. This time can be for reflection, strategy, creativity, and various other problem-solving things that you need to do. Number 2 is creating a tech-free zone. This is designating certain spaces as device-free. So keep your bedroom, keep your dining areas free from screens. I don't have a family yet, but one thing I would think about doing is, like I said, when we come to the dinner table and it's time for that, we have like a basket here, and we're going to drop all our phones, all our devices in there. And that's part of our tech-free zone. And this is our designated space for just face-to-face interaction that's uninterrupted. And the last thing to do for a tech-free zone is to set up a designated space for deep work. Number 3 here is I would set technology boundaries. So check emails, check messages at specific times. Use do not disturb mode during focus hours. Now, I would actually say one thing that shocks me is people who have their ringtones on. I don't know why, it just always shocks me. So for me, my phone is 24/7 do not disturb mode, 24/7, and I'll just get back to it when I get back to it. Turn off non-essential notifications. Number 4, have regular digital detoxes. And so you can have maybe 1 hour a week of complete disconnection. You can work up to like a full unplugged day when possible. And notice how your thinking is going to change during these periods when you're doing this, and really give it some time. So maybe for a lot of us, I think maybe Saturday or Sunday, when maybe things are not as busy and hectic, will be a good time to practice having this digital detox. So in a world it's obsessed with hyperconnectivity, the smartest leaders are the ones who know when to unplug. Solitude and digital detoxing aren't signs of weakness or any other sort of negative connotation that may come up in your head. That's really your ego talking on another tangent. These are actually strategic choices that will improve your clarity, that will improve your resilience across the board, and will most certainly improve your performance in the boardroom and also in your household and your leadership in both of those domains as well. So my challenge to you, we're going to start small. Block out 30 minutes this week for intentional solitude. Just start small. Maybe it's meditating. And there's an app called Insight Timer, which I love. There's so many different things on there, and most of them are free. I have the free version, and I'm over 500 and maybe like 50 days without missing a day. And so that's a great app to use. Maybe it's journaling, 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe it's just sitting quiet with your thoughts and really checking in to see how I'm doing, really and truly how I'm doing. What's bothering me right now? What's something that I need to take care of that I've been putting off that would make me feel so much better? Whatever these things are, this is up to you to choose. But give yourself the gift of uninterrupted time, because your next breakthrough, it's not going to be in your inbox. It's going to be in your solitude.